This is the Mathematics Foundation paper, and we're looking at the summer, questions 1 to 4, and we're going to cover 13 marks today. For the foundation paper, you do need, for this paper, you needed 20 marks over the 2 papers to get your G grade, and so on. So you can see that mark scheme down below of where the marks come from. So you've got G, F, E, and D. It does not mean you can get a C in this paper, but it's good for those people who are starting off and thinking about doing maths then further in college. So the first one that we have is add 3874 and 649. So 3,874 and 649. So what we do is we write the numbers out first. Now the second lot of numbers, you want to write them straight underneath. So I start off with the last number first, just so I know where to place my numbers. And we're going to be adding those together. So 4 plus 9, you can use number lines, you can use your hands, whichever you work best with. What I would recommend is in the test, if you do get stuck, just using your ruler, because that tends to have these numbers both on them. So you can do 9 and add up 4. That will give you 13. 7 plus 4 will give you 11. Add your extra 1, that gives you 12. 8 and 6 gives you 14. Add your extra 1 gives you 15. And remembering that 1 underneath. 3 plus 1 gives you 4. So your answer for the first one is 4,523. Subtract 532 from 700. So 700 needs to come first because it's from 700. We're going to put a minus, and again, they're both 3 digits this time, so it's nice and easy, and we're going to put that straight underneath. Now, 0 take away 2, you can't actually do it, so you have to borrow from further on. So if I change the colour of my pen just so you can see what I'm doing, cross off the 7, that becomes a 6. That gives us 10. But that still doesn't help us at the start, so I have to cross off the 10. That gives me 9. Now I can borrow the 10 over. 10 take away 2 gives me 8. 9 take away 3 gives me 6. And 6 take away 5 gives me 1. And that's that question finished. So my answer is 168. Last one, what are the factors of 27? So factors is basically where is 27 in your times tables? So if I think about the basic one, so it's in my 1 times table. 1 times what gives me 27? Well, 1 times 27. So that's my factor pair for the first one. Now, if you're struggling with the second bit, just think in your head. In your 2 times tables, do you see 27? We can say no because it's an even number. 3 does go into 27. It goes in a matter of 9 times. So 3 times 9. Now we're at the stage where we just check the times tables between it to make sure we've got them all. So 4 doesn't because we know it's not an even number. 5 doesn't because it doesn't end in a 5 and 0. And then 6 doesn't because it's going to leave us with an odd number. If we go up in the 6s, we've got 6, 12, 18, and then it goes to 24, then 30. So it doesn't hit that. 7, 14, and then 21, 28. So we missed that one. And 8 again is an even number, so we're not going to have that. So we're just left with these numbers. So I'm just going to write them out to finish that question off. Okay, so the mark scheme here, you got 1 mark for your first answer, 1 mark for your second answer. So you didn't actually get any for your workings, it's just purely your answer. But I recommend you doing your workings so you can get it. And then the last one, if you only managed to get 1 in 27, you would have got 1 mark. Okay, so even if you're stuck on this question, it's worth writing 1 in 27 because you know that they are definitely going to be factors. So it's just making sure that you were allowed to make 1 wrong and still get a mark as long as you've done more than 3. Okay, question 2. This question seems to be coming up quite a lot over the years. So it's an area question. Now, first thing I tend to do is count all the whole squares. So I'm just going to go through, just counting out anywhere that I've got a complete whole square. And I'm being very careful, just making sure they're the completely the whole one, so no half squares. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so they're my whole squares, so 25 whole. Now I'm going to try and match up my half ones. So ones that I can put together. So this little piece by here, I probably put it with this one by here. And I'm just going to do a little tally. And when I've made a whole square, I'm going to put a little mark. There's loads of different ways you can do this, so it's personal preference. So let's have a look. So I've got this little bit by here and this little bit by there. I'm going to say that's another one. These halves, I'm going to say that's another one together. I'm going to use this bit and this bit and probably this bit to make another one. And it's just a bit like putting them together. So it's just an estimate. So whatever you can think that you can see put together. I need a little bit of that bit. So that's another one. Another little bit by there, that covers that one. And we've got this part by here. This part and this part will probably give me another one. So I'm on 8 so far. I'm going to do this big one with that little bit by there. And that's another one. I've got another big one by here, and I'm going to cover that bit by there. So that's 10 now I'm on. These little parts by here, they're probably going to be enough, let's say, to shade this part in. Oops, just that bit by there, which is 1. And then the last one, which I was half shading in then, I'd probably take the rest of it. So there we go. So I've got 12 whole squares there. And that's just from a guess, is a range that you're going to be able to do. I'm just going to write this up on the other side for you. So 25 whole, 12 whole, and then I'm going to add them together, which gives me 37. Okay, so I've got 37 squares, and I'm just going to write that bit there as well, so I know I have to rub one out in a second. Once I've got that, each square represents an area of 5. So I'm going to be doing 37 times 5. Now you've got options here. You can do the box method, so write 30 and 7 and 5 by here. And we're just multiplying. So 5 times 3 gives you 15. Put your 0 on the end. 5 times 7 gives you 35. And then you're adding those up. It should give you 185 centimeters squared. Now, for say that you did this and you're not sure, you can add up as you go. So I have seen people in the past not confident with their multiplying. That is absolutely fine. You just write 37 5 times and add up downwards, okay? So 7, 14, and so on. So you're essentially still doing your times tables, but there's another method. Make sure you have your units at the end of it, and make sure you show your workings on this one because it is an OCW question. So you get a mark for your workings. I knew I had written down there. I'm just going to move this tally to the side. I did think I had done it. Just so you can see the... And you don't have to do a tally. This is just my method of how I find it's easier to read the question. There we go, read that. So anywhere from 32 to 42 squares. So it gave you a lot of leeway. We said 37, so we're probably bang on in the middle. And then the area, you're looking anywhere from 160 to 110. So as long as you have their number of squares times by 5, you get that mark if you get the correct answer. So it says here, punctuation and grammar, correct mathematical workings. So we've done a lot of correct mathematical workings here. Appropriate term of units. So we've done the appropriate units here because we said centimetres squared. Here we go. Question 3. Now this one is reflection. So reflection basically means, see where the line Q and PQ is. If I folded it exactly in half and then back open again, it's going to be same on the other side as it is on the side that's given. So I've just mirrored it now, so you'll see it come in. So my first line, my second line, my third line, and my fourth line. So I'm literally copying what's happening on the other side. To do this, because obviously if you're struggling, count how many squares. So I've got 5 squares this way. I needed 5 squares that way to get to that point. Same here, I've got 2 points to get to here, so I needed 2 to get to the other side. And that's the easiest way of mirroring out. So that's 3, and that's back to the centre, just to help with that one. And you literally just got 1 mark for making sure it's exactly the same. Next one we got Jack has a box of 100 cards, 50 cards are blue. He chooses a card at random from his box. Describe the chance that he chooses a blue card. Well, if it's 100 cards and you've got 50, you've got exactly half. And if it's half, it's an even chance. So it's even chance of getting blue or not blue. So for this one, it says circle. So please make sure you're circling. There we go. So Mel has a different box of 100 cards. All the cards are red or yellow. Chooses a random card from her box. Describe the chance of her getting a green card. Well, it states here that they're only red or yellow, so we can't get a green. So it's not unlikely, it's actually impossible because there's no green cards available. And there we go. So even chance and impossible, so you get 1 mark for each. Even if you're not sure on these questions, it's really important you try and get rid of the ones that you know definitely aren't going to happen and choose between the ones you have left because you've still got a possibility of getting a mark. Draw a tangent. So a tangent meets the circle at one particular point and it goes away. Okay, so it's really important that you have your line that's on the side of the circle. So I've just done a thing, it could be a little bit further out, but that will do for now. And the same with the radius, it's going from the center point and we're coming straight to the circumference. Don't go past the circumference. And you'll see how it hits that line of the circle? So that's your radius. And again, you've got 2 marks for this. And there we go. That's the first one completed. So that's questions 1 to 4 all done. So if you managed to do all of those and understood where they were coming from,